Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to cut through all the hype and talk about one of the most misunderstood business models out there, dropshipping. Is it really the get-rich-quick scheme you see online, or is there more to it? Let's figure it out.
You've seen it, right? You're scrolling through social media, and boom, there's some teenager standing next to a Lamborghini telling you they made millions in a few months from their bedroom. It's a pretty powerful image, and it makes you think, hey, if they can do it, why can't I? But that whole low-effort, high-reward thing, yeah, that's not quite the full story.
You know, I love this analogy for it. Think of it this way. Calculus 1 might be the easiest calculus course you can take, but it's still calculus. And it's the same exact thing with dropshipping. It's one of the most accessible ways to get into e-commerce, for sure. But that doesn't mean it's easy. It's a real business, and it demands real work.
So first, let's talk about the dropshipping dream. And then, let's get down to the reality of what it actually takes to succeed.
Okay, so at its very core, dropshipping is a pretty simple idea. You set up an online store to sell products. But here's the key. You don't actually own or store any of the stuff you're selling. You don't have a warehouse full of boxes. Nope, you're just the connector, the middleman.
All right, so how do the money and the product actually move around? Well, it's basically a simple three-player game.
Let's walk through it. A customer lands on your online store and buys a cool toy for, say, $50. Awesome. You then take that order, you pay your supplier their wholesale price, let's call it $15, and you pass along the customer's shipping address. The supplier then packs up the toy and ships it directly to the customer. And you get to keep the $35 difference, all without ever touching a single piece of inventory.
And we're not talking about some tiny, obscure market here. Right now, the dropshipping industry is worth almost $150 billion. But here's the crazy part. Forecasts show it's expected to grow to nearly $500 billion by 2026. The opportunity is absolutely massive. You don't need the whole pie. You just need a tiny slice.
Now, hearing a number that big, your first thought is probably competition. It must be impossible to break in, right? Well, what if I told you that all that competition is actually your biggest advantage? Here is the secret that most people completely miss. The market isn't actually saturated with real competition. It's saturated with people who bought into that get-rich-quick fantasy and then quit the second they realized it was actual work.
I mean, just think about this number for a second. A staggering 90% of people who start a dropshipping store quit. Most of them don't even last a few weeks. They jump in thinking it's a walk in the park, and they bail. This high churn rate is your secret weapon. Seriously, just by committing and treating it like a real business, you're already ahead of almost everyone else.
So you really have to decide which one you're going to be. Are you going to be a spectator, sitting up in the bleachers, just kind of hoping a foul ball comes your way? Or are you going to be a player, down on the field, ready to swing, ready to learn from your strikeouts and actually hit some home runs? That 90% who quit, they're the spectators. The 10% who make it, they're the players. The only thing separating them is commitment.
Okay, so you're ready to be a player. Love it. Now, let's talk about the biggest trap for beginners. That one strategic mistake that causes most people to strike out before they even get going. The trap is this. You go product first. You find some gadget you think is cool, and you just assume everybody else will want it too. The problem is your personal opinion, well, it doesn't really matter. The winning strategy is to go niche first. Start with a group of people, a community. It could be hikers, gamers, people obsessed with all-pink kitchen decor, whatever. You get in there, you learn what they talk about, what their real problems are, and then you find products that solve those problems.
And this niche-first approach, it's a massive strategic advantage. Instead of just guessing and throwing random products out there, you become an expert. You learn how your customers talk, you understand their pain points, and you can build a targeted brand that actually means something to them and stands out from all the generic, faceless stores.
And that leads us right to our final big decision. Are you trying to build a temporary hustle? Or are you trying to build a real, sustainable business that can last?
Look, I get it. A lot of beginners go for the single product store because it just seems simpler. But the problem is, a lot of them just scream temporary dropshipping site. And if that one trendy product you're selling suddenly fails or gets oversaturated, your whole business is just toast.
A multi-product store, on the other hand, even one that's tightly focused on a specific niche, immediately feels more like a legitimate, trustworthy brand. It gives you the flexibility to test new products and build something with real, long-term value.
And, it all comes back to this one simple truth. Success in dropshipping isn't about finding some magical product or a secret cheat code. It's about building a real business with a real strategy and putting in the time and the effort to make it grow. It is not a lottery ticket.
So look, we've seen the market is huge. We know the real competition is way smaller than you think. And we know the right strategy can set you apart from the crowd. The potential is absolutely undeniable. So the only real question left is, are you ready to build a business? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.